safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace. None in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay, back here on Straight Talk Wrestling. It's May. Well, maybe August, maybe April. I'm not sure. My months are all clouded and skied together, but I have something amazing. You've seen them on their drag heels. They are, without a doubt, one of the coolest things in pro wrestling here in Canada. Actually, scratch that, in the world. Please help me welcome Canada's first and only drag queen wrestler, Alice Starr, to Straight Talk Wrestling. How are you?
What's up, George? I'm great. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. It's an honor. You reached out to us and you were on the short list of who we wanted to get to. When you reached out, I was like, this is awesome. When people reach out to me, it's so easier because then I can say, cool, check mark, book in. Life is great. And we can do everything with our phones now. So it's super easy to get schedules and everything in place. Of course, we both screwed up the first interview because we booked it like 3 weeks in advance and then we both messed that up. But we're here now. That's all that matters.
Hey, so I'm just happy to be talking to you.
Absolutely. So first things first, Mini Host did ask in her 5 questions about your recovery with the knee injury. And you did mention that it's slow going and that you wanted to capitalize on drag heels if you could have with the knee injury. What's the timeline on your in-ring return? What are we looking at to get Alice Starr back in the squared circle?
Well, George, it was a ACL tear and some meniscus injuries as well. So anybody that's gone through that knows that it's painful and it's a very rough recovery. But I'm doing everything I can, and I'm still trying to be active. And you know what? I'm not going to let it stop me. I don't know what the exact timeline looks like, but perfect world, if by the end of the year I'm in the ring, I'm a happy camper, man.
I think we could hit that. I believe in you. I think you can hit that. Athletes are always built different and they always know how to recover quicker. I mean, there's been so many people that have recovered ahead of their timeline. I would put you on the short list to definitely be back in the ring as a special Christmas gift to the wrestling community, 100%. Now, I got to ask, you started off as refereeing. You had opportunities to ref, especially you had a big opportunity on Impact and stuff like that. And you're also trained by 2 great minds in pro wrestling. Anthony Corelli, and I'm not very good with Japanese names, but I'm going to try my best. Yuki Ishikawa. Did I get it right?
That's pretty good.
Yes. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take it. That's pretty good means I didn't screw it up horribly wrong. So when you were training at Battle Arts and you were I know Anthony Corelli's big on character development and kind of figuring out who you're going to be in the ring. Did Alice Starr kind of come out as a broadened spectrum of the 3 of you creatively coming together? Or was Alice always in your mind like, no, this is what I have to, this is who I am. This is what I want to show.
Yeah, you know what? I have to give a lot of credit to both of them. Yuki is a powerhouse. He is such an old school wrestler. And anybody that's met him knows that he deserves every ounce of respect that he gets. There's so many different lessons that I took from him, but more so in ring. When it comes to Anthony Corelli, known for being Santino Marella, and of course, a massive character, to me, Hall of Fame worthy, but maybe I'm biased. You know what? He definitely helped me develop this character, but it was my creation for sure. This is something that I wanted to do very early on into training wrestling because I thought, I want to be able to tell stories that people have never heard before. And being Canada's first and only pro wrestler means that I get the opportunity to do that. And so along the way, I've definitely had help. But when everything is said and done, whatever I do in the public with Alice Starr is from my heart, and that's what I'm setting out to do. I want to make sure that everything that I do is honest and transparent because a lot of people are looking to me, being such an anomaly in the wrestling world. And if whatever I'm putting forth isn't honest, it's going to be pretty transparent. We live in a pretty sensitive world today, sometimes rightfully so and sometimes not. But at the end of the day, I just need to make sure whatever I'm doing it from the heart.
Absolutely. Now, funny story about you is that I saw you at one of the Battle Arts Rising Star shows, and I got to see you in, I think it was a Battle Royal. and everyone was coming in, chaos in the ring like most battle royals are, and there's Alice Starr, larger than life. And what I loved about this is that you came through the ropes, and everyone in the ring kind of separated, not to stop wrestling, but gave you the space to kind of really shine and kind of be the center of attention for that moment, until I believe it was Carew hit you over the back of the head with a huge hammer fist, as Carew
Sounds like
always does.
Carew.
Yeah, it's he's a big boy, and he swings for the trees with that one. He does. But what was it like, kind of sliding in the battle royal and have everyone in the locker room give you the respect so rightfully deserved of your character, and kind of let you have that 10-15 seconds to kind of have all eyes on you, which is pretty cool? Because like I said, in the battle royal, action moves super fast, so it's very hard to get the crowd's attention for that long.
Yeah. You know what? It's an amazing opportunity when you you have the ability to make time stand still, especially in the wrestling ring. Moments are made from all different types of opportunities. So something like that, the fact that it stuck in your mind is absolutely incredible. You know, maybe there, you know, someone was in the audience, they don't remember that, but you did, and that's amazing. And so that's all I'm trying to do, is create moments and entertain people, man. That's it. And so the fact that people respect what I do is absolutely incredible. But I also know that not everybody does. So that's totally cool, but I'm going to do my thing.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about wrestling, is that as much as wrestling is an old school boys club in a lot of ways, an old school club, it's also broken a lot of barriers. I mean, if you think about it, the amount of orientations, or the amount of individuals that have crossed over successfully into the business or are still breaking barriers now. You got Nyla Rose in AEW. You have Portia Del Monaco, or Del Marico. She's the transgender manager over in NWA, or the drag queen manager over in NWA. You have Giselle Shaw. You have Jay Vidal. You have so many barriers being broken from the LGBTQ plus community. There's a lot of pluses in there, so I hope I got all of them right.
There's a lot to that. Yeah.
There is quite a bit, eh? I wish it could just, I mean, it was so much easier when it was just, and I'm not saying anything bad here, when it was just LGBTQ. It was easy. It rolled off the tongue. It was very simple. Now you got to make sure every plus gets recognized, as they should, but it's just a lot. It's just that whole community, that wonderful community, that colorful, vibrant community, it's all in there. And barriers are being broken down. Even though as you mentioned, this society is still sensitive now, but very much more open-minded than it was, say, even 5 years ago. The fact that we still have to address certain situations, it's difficult. And it must be difficult even for yourself, knowing that when you walk into a locker room, when you're healthy, when your knee is ready, when you walk into a locker room, there may be someone in that locker room who's not accepting of Alice and what Alice brings to the table. And I mean, even though that's in your mind, and I know you got strong shoulders, you can take that, it's got to be something that some points it must give a little bit of anxiety every time you walk into a locker room you don't know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And that is actually reality. You know, sorry, I have a cat that's playing with a little doorstop. No, that's entirely a reality. You know, when I do walk into a locker room, everybody wants to feel accepted and feel like they're at home. But that's not always the case. And so for me, all I can do is keep doing what I do, because I know the more people, the more queer wrestlers that are out in the ring, the more accepting the wrestling community will be, and the locker room will be. So listen, it's in my mind, and it's super scary. And don't get me wrong, it's always there. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to let anything stop me. I am here to entertain, to be who I am. And if someone's got a problem with that, then that's their problem, not mine.
I like that. That's the simplest way to deal with it. If you've got an issue, it's your issue. It doesn't have to be my issue. And
Yep.
don't bring it to my attention. That's fine. If you don't want to be in that locker room, there's the door. You don't have to be in that locker room. But the fact is wrestling, as much as it was very exclusive, now it's becoming, slowly, still getting there, becoming very inclusive. And I hope to see other areas of sports entertainment take more of a vibrant stance on that. Like I love to see a personality that's one day a GM of one of the shows. I'd like to see a personality that's maybe directing or writing, or one of the head writers of the show, or producers, bookers, if you will. There's options for everyone in wrestling where it could really become something special given the right opportunity. Now, Alice Starr, as great as she is and as vibrant as she is, everyone's got enemies. Everyone's got that fight forever feel to you. When it comes to, I guess, the Battle Arts roster, because that's one of the rosters you know so well, is there anyone on that roster that, would you say is your Joker to your Batman? Your Wolverine to your Sabretooth? Like, is there anybody there that you sit there and go, man, that's someone who just, they get under my skin, and no matter how many times I whoop them, they keep coming back for more.
You know what? I've got a lot of frenemies.
Okay, I like that, frenemies.
Yeah. I've got a long history with James Runyon, an OG Battle Arts champ. Listen, he interrupted my drag heels performance and came down and actually stopped the show. And it led to a fight there in Buddies in Bad Times Theater in Toronto. And I came out on top, and that's great. But he's kind of someone that's kind of followed me around and has a problem with what I do. And sometimes he's been there for me as a coach, as a I wouldn't say moral compass. I would say he has been a respected leader sometimes. But that's someone I've always got kind of a third eye on, just making sure. Another person is Sexy Stan Smith. Now, him and I have been great friends, and we've gone to war to see who's the sexiest, basically. But he's another person that I really respect, but at the same time, he's shown a history of changing. And right now, I don't know what he's up to, but I think I saw that he's aligning with some people that I probably wouldn't respect.
Yes, you're right. I guess you're talking about the fine gentleman. Maybe fine's the wrong word, I'm not sure. The gentleman of Dynasty. They're building a legacy. Great. They're building a legacy building a legacy, leaving a dynasty. That's right. They've got their own brand of justice, if you will, their own brand of business. But you know what? If anybody could show a crack in the dynasty armor, Starr might be able to do that. Yeah.
I like that. And I agree.
I like that. I think maybe in December, see, the booking mind is turning. I think maybe in December, if you're ring ready, I think Starr runs the gauntlet of every member of Dynasty. From Jackson Roy to Sway Archer to Mikey Truth to Stan Smith.
Listen, I know all of them personally, and they're all tough, but I don't know if they can handle the kind of wave that I've got behind me. And the support is insurmountable. And honestly, I think the movement that we are creating in wrestling right now, not just queer wrestlers, but people who believe in the same types of thing that I do, morals, they have ethics. These guys don't. So I think at the end of the day, I always believe that good trumps evil.
Well, I believe that too. I mean, I'm one of those people that I do enjoy a good bad guy, but I'll turn the movie off before the bad guy dies, because sometimes I don't want to see the bad guy die. You know what I mean? I want to see the bad guy thrive for another day. But I always do like to see when, the hero vanquishes the enemy, when the dragon is slain, if you will. So let's talk about drag heels. Awesome opportunity, fantastic. Like you said, available on so many streaming services, from Apple Plus to Amazon Prime to all over the place. Crave as well. I believe it's on Crave as well. So the fact is, drag heels, man, such a great opportunity. How did all that come about for you?
Yeah, no, the producers of Drag Heels actually reached out to me. They knew who I was. They saw what I do. And they thought that I had a story to tell. And at the time, I didn't know if I did. I kind of thought, I don't know if I've had it as hard as some other people, and I don't know if I want to take up that space. And when I got to the show and I started to actually develop this one person performance, and it was all coming from the heart, all Tracy Aaron Smith's teachings. That's the host and the creator of the show. I slowly realized that I do have value, and it's been an incredible opportunity. And I can't believe that I was able to use this and develop myself, but also help other people at the same time.
It's pretty amazing when you can share your story and it can touch a life or change a life in an instant. And it's not something that you set out to do. You're speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And when your truth is spoken, but then your truth gives somebody that right to seek out their own truth. That's the coolest part about it, I think, is as human beings, to gain that, not so much book knowledge, but to gain that world knowledge, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Of kind of peeling back those layers. To be cliche, peeling the onion like Shrek. You know, we all have layers, right? So just to be able to share your truth and to have it change a life or possibly touch lives you never would have thought of. Like,
Yeah.
think about it. You could be 20 years from now somewhere buying a cup of coffee, and a stranger could come up to you and say, "Hey, I know you. You know, I watched you on Drag Heels, you know, a decade ago, and it's because of you I'm still here today." And it's
Yeah.
like, it's not something you want to, it's not the responsibility that anybody should have. But the fact is that you may not know it, but you've definitely touched a life or two. And that's just a simple fact. There's a little boy or a little girl out there that's going to watch Drag Heels one day and be like, you know what? I could do that. I could change the way people see me just being who I am. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about how the fact that the smallest instance, one sentence of what you said in Drag Heels, one part of your performance may have changed the life, a fork in the road moment, and that's a moment that you might have created.
Yeah, you know what? Before the show, I dealt with imposter syndrome a lot and having to deal with not feeling like I'm worth really anything. But through the process, I was able to really understand that I am someone special. You are someone special. Everybody is someone special. And I'm super proud of what everybody all the cast members were able to produce some amazing shows and really change lives. I didn't know that going in. I just thought this is going to be a fun opportunity. And, I always say, take what you do seriously, but not yourself. And so I just went in thinking, I'm going to have some fun. Why not? And then as the shooting went on, I started to realize, oh, this is a great opportunity to change myself for the better. And you can almost see that on film, all of us really starting to open up and realize that this is an avenue. And again, it's not necessarily a responsibility, but it's something that we all welcomed, the opportunity to actually speak our truth and change lives.
Absolutely. You know what? One of the funniest things is, I'm not even gonna say it's a guilty pleasure. One of my favorite movies is To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Okay. I don't think that movie gets enough credit that it should. I mean, you've got Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, arguably two of the toughest guys of their time, two of the mans in a situation where they had to be in drag and done hilariously right, but gave validation to that community of, look at this. Now we're on a full stage. Then you also had Robin Williams in The Birdcage with Leslie, or I can't remember his name, but that
Nathan
other guy,
Lane, I think, is in that one.
Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was going to say Leslie Nielsen for a second. I was like, what a horrible human being I am. No, but I mean, Nathan Lane, Birdcage, those were two very iconic films for the time, especially in an era where films like that weren't the norm. You know what I mean? And we changed the landscape with that. What are your thoughts on those? Like, that we're talking groundbreaking films that in their own rights are very special, but iconic. Like I said, To Wong Fu is one of those movies, like a lot of people watch Singing in the Rain when they're sick. A lot of people watch, Star Wars when they're sick. Nah, man, when I'm sick, To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. I can literally turn it on and not have to worry about nothing. Just enjoy. That's it.
Hey, that's cool. You know what? Drag's been around forever. People think it's this new thing, this new phenomenon. People are being woke. But listen, they all watch Bugs Bunny cartoons. And obviously it didn't start with Bugs Bunny, but everybody loves Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire, and Birdcage. There's so many different movies where queer people are represented. And listen, like Shakespeare, those were men in drag as the females characters. Females weren't in his plays. This is not new shit. Sorry, can I swear?
Absolutely. Fuck
okay,
yeah.
This isn't
Absolutely.
new shit. Yeah, this isn't. This has been around since the dawn of time, and for people to be up in arms today just shows you that it's really just a grumpy culture. Everybody's a little grumpy, and they need to get over it because this is not new stuff. This is not. And people need to understand that, everybody has the right to exist and live the life the way they want to, within reason, obviously, if it doesn't affect someone else's, which drag does not. Don't go to a drag show then, just don't go to a drag show.
Yeah.
We're not villains.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, they're not. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. No, I've never been to one, but I will say
we got to get you to one.
Absolutely. I'm in. Absolutely. I will enjoy the hell out of it. But I have seen a lot of, like I said, stuff on TV, documentaries, movies. Who do you I mean, being in the drag community, there's a lot of communities that would say that they are the number one. I mean, Toronto's got a healthy community. Miami's got a great community. Vegas has a community. I mean, there's probably more that I'm unaware of, but those are the three that stick into my mind. But Alice, who's got the best drag shows, man? Who's got it?
Listen, I can confidently say I'm the best drag queen pro wrestler in Canada.
Okay.
Being the first and only. So
absolutely. You've got
that. There are incredible drag queens all around the world. If we're talking Toronto, we got Katinka Couture. Priyanka won the first drag race. And is a international superstar. If we're talking all time, there's some people like Bianca Del Rio is absolutely incredible, another drag race winner. But at the end of the day, I think everybody brings a little something special. And it's like wrestling, right? Some people love lucha. Some people love shoot style wrestling, and hardstyle. And some people love classic or whatever it may be. Drag's the same thing, and there's so many incredible performers all around the world. I can pick my favorites, but to pick the best, I think we need a mass vote on that one. I don't know what it would be. I'd be interested to see what people say, actually.
I would be. You know what, guys? When this drops, ladies and gentlemen, fans of the podcast, if you know, or if you want to throw your hat in the ring of who's got the best community, comment on the video. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll definitely do some research on that, because I'm interested to know too. Because you know what, I will say this: Toronto's Pride Parade is all kinds of fire, man. It's a lot of fun. And Toronto, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know everybody has a great Pride Parade. I know they do. But I've only ever been to Toronto.
Toronto's got it, man. Toronto is it's one of the best, if not the best, in the entire world. And that just goes to show you how great of a city it is, and how great of the people in it are.
Absolutely. 150%. And even the sports teams are on board with all that kind of stuff. Everybody shows their pride for that. It used to be a day. Then it became a week. Now it's a whole freaking month in Toronto. Actually, you know what? It's 365 in the T-Dot, man, in the 6. Everybody's got their pride flags going, and it's who we are as a people. And you know what? My wife and I are big believers in teaching our kids about exclusivity. And that's why Cassie, when she came to us before we recorded, she's like, should I ask about Giselle Shaw? I'm like, absolutely. Everyone has a right to speak their piece, and everyone has a right to state their opinion, and someone may not like it, and that's fine. Listen, I myself have gone through those challenges. Every time I put my hat on or I'm wearing my chain, which is who I am, people are like, oh, he looks like a fatter version of Bubba Ray. Hold on a second. Bubba Ray and I are pretty much the same size. So I don't know if I can fatter, but I've been insulted. I've been, I stumble on my words. I forget things. People are just, well, if I'm not your cup of tea as a wrestling podcaster, that's cool. There's 80,000 other ones out there. Pick one. I'm sure you'll find one you like. But as for me, I've built my brand, and I'm happy for what Straight Talk Wrestling represents, which is inclusivity, not exclusivity. We're all about inclusive here. We don't care what your background is, where you came from. If you like wrestling, if you like chopping it up with us and having these honest, real conversations, because that's what they are. A lot of people are like interviews and conversations say no. Because if you notice, I never take my eyes off of you. I never look down on my phone and go, what's my next 14 questions? I know my research. I do it ahead of time, and I focus on the subject because that's where my attention should be. It shouldn't be everywhere else. And I shouldn't be thinking about balancing my checkbook or wondering if my clothes are done in the dryer. I should be focusing on who I'm focusing on. Now, my next question is, we talked about fatherhood, not to get too personal. I am a dad. You are a dad. How is the life of being a dad for you?
Freaking crazy, man. Listen, it's an interesting thing because it poses a lot of questions in people's minds. They go, you're a drag queen pro wrestler and you're a dad, and go, well, it doesn't matter what, my sexual preferences are, or gender is, or sex. It doesn't matter. You know, I am a father, and it's been absolutely an incredible experience. And it, you know, my partner was pregnant during the time of filming at Drag Heels, and you can see that on the show. She's 9 months pregnant, and it really put it into perspective when I'm on that stage, and I put it into my story about how fucking scared I was about becoming a father. You know, how do I deal with raising a child if I haven't dealt with the things that are still eating at me, and that I haven't confronted? And it was an incredible process to actually figure that out in real time and in front of cameras for people to see. And hopefully that's cause for inspiration. But at the end of the day, I do whatever I need to do for my son. And the reason why I continue doing what I do is for people like him, so he can grow up knowing that he can be and do whatever he wants. And that's why I will never stop what I'm doing. I am here to show that if you have a dream, it is achievable. It doesn't matter. It's achievable.
Mhm. I could have said it better myself. You know what? I look at who I was 5 years ago, and I look at who I am now. And my one daughter, the mini host, you met her. She's 13. Oh my God, I have a teenager. It's scary. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. The reason why I wear hats is not a fashion statement. It's to cover this. Like, look at it. Oh, let's go. Whew, I don't like it. I'm going bald. I used to have lush, flourishing hair, and now it's fitted away. I look at your hairline and I'm like, I'm jealous. I look at mine, I'm like, oh, my forehead is huge. But anyway, I have a teenager and I have a sweet, sweet, sassy 7-year-old daughter. I'm a girl dad, proud girl dad of 2 wonderful ladies. And you know what? We've been teaching them from day one. It doesn't matter who you are on the outside, because the way I teach both of them is we all bleed red.
Yeah.
Once we're cut open, we're all bleeding the same color. So religion, creed, sex, none of the above. Just be a good person. Don't be a shithead. And it's okay to be a shithead when it calls for it, but not all the time. You could be an asshole when you're in a situation where you have to be.
Yeah.
But don't go looking for those situations.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, and that's something I'm going to teach him for sure is listen, you need to have a backbone because the world can be cruel. That doesn't mean you have to be, but you have to be able to stand up for yourself. And whatever that means, I'm not saying physically, but you have to be smart and you have to be kind and all these different things. But at the end of the day, you know, protect who you love and the things that you cherish and value, because those are things that define who you are in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. I think your integrity as a human being speaks for who you are. And like I said, looking at myself 5 years ago before, I was not okay. And I speak on this all the time. Mental health is a real thing. I was not okay. I was in dark places. I was angry. I was frustrated. And I was taking it out on the 3 most precious things in the world to me, which is my children and my wife. Not physically, but with my words. I was very, 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 very hateful with my words and the stuff that I would say. If I wasn't okay with who I was, I didn't look at myself. I backlashed everybody around me. And then I went to therapy and I broke it down. And I learned that my anxieties manifested themselves in anger. That's how my anxiety came out. And a lot of people are like, oh, when you're anxiety, you just shut down. No. Anxiety can manifest itself in 1,000 different ways. Mine just came out angry. Everyone thought I was angry. Now I'm a teddy bear. The only person I fight with now is my dog because she's so annoying. Like my dog and I are frenemies. Like you and James Runyon, my dog and I will fight forever. We will fight forever. We respect one another, but when it comes, if we're alone, yeah, it's not a good thing. She'll stay in the kitchen, I'll stay in the TV room, and she'll walk by, she'll growl, and I'll walk by and I'll just brush her off. But yeah, I know that if I ever leave my foot hanging off the side of the bed, I might be missing a toe the next morning. It's true. It could happen. She's dangerous. I mean, she's only 8 pounds. She's a little Maltese poodle, pain in the ass. She's a pain in the ass dog. She's a diva.
You should say she's a massive, you know, whatever dog.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah, no, she's got the heart of a Rottweiler and the size of a Rottweiler's crap. That's how big she is. But you know what? You're right. You got to have a backbone. And it's okay not to be okay and to recognize that if you want to reach out for help, it's fine. And you know what? Let me tell you something. It's not a shocker. It's not breaking news. All new dads are scared shitless. I look at it this way. Women become mothers the minute they find out they're pregnant. A father becomes a father the minute they hold their child for the first time. That's how I looked at it, because the minute I held my daughters, nothing else mattered but my family.
Yeah.
And that's all that I care about and all that I fight for every single day. The minute I held those girls in my arms, nothing else mattered. And I'm sure it was the same feeling for you. You're scared, but the minute you hold that baby, you're like, wow, this is life.
Yeah.
And this is the coolest fucking thing I'll ever do. I can make $1 billion. I could become the most famous pro wrestling drag queen, or I could be this little person's hero. And
Yeah.
that is everything.
That's priceless, man. That is priceless. And I completely agree with everything you say. Yeah, it is what drives me 100%, is my family, and being able to make a change in their life, and be inspirational to them. Everything else is gravy, man. That's awesome. And that's what I'm setting out to do. But if my son's proud of me, and if I'm his hero, or one of them at least, I can die a happy man.
100%. You will be his hero. Everyone's father should be their hero, unless their father is a person who should not be a father. And that's the way I say that, because there are some fathers and mothers that should not be parents. And we'll just leave it at that. 150%. Yeah. But I got to ask this now. I mean, you've got style, you've got flair. I'm sure your partner has style and flair. Do you guys give each other makeup tips?
You know what's so funny? We actually had a night one time where she did my makeup and I did hers.
Okay.
And so she doesn't wear a lot of makeup, and so my face was done pretty quickly. But hers, I took a while with it and gave her the full drag mug.
Nice.
And she was loving it. She was absolutely enamored with what I did. It wasn't the best job in the world, I will say that, but those photos will live and die with us. I'll say that.
they'll be kept close circuit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Well, that's amazing. Now, when it comes to being a pro wrestler drag queen and your partner and your family, obviously for privacy, you want to keep them close. But have they ever like, when your son's old enough, will you bring him to a show?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love for him to see what I do firsthand and actually be there. And just overall, I mean, if he digs wrestling, that's dope. And I'm totally there for it. If he doesn't, I get it. Totally cool. You be you. But to have him there and see me wrestle, I don't know what kind of mess I'll be. It'll probably make me break down a little bit, looking out there and seeing his face. But then again, it's also motivation to get the job done and show him that anything's possible.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, the goal for the end of this year is to get your knee healthy, to get back in the ring. So let's look forward to 2024. You're in the ring, you're returning, you're accepting bookings again. What's a goal that you and Alice combined together as one human being? What's the goal that this amazing entity wants to achieve in 2024? Back in the ring, 2023, that's the goal. But what's the goal beyond that? Have you thought ahead? Have you thought about what the next steps for you are?
Yeah, I want to hit the road. I want to go everywhere I can. And to me, I think a lot of people will say, I want to be X champion, or I want to win this championship. Belts are belts. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care, because you lose belts. Belts aren't forever. And what I like to say is that, belts aren't forever, but legacies are. And so for me, I want to hit every single city I can, because as we talked about, if I'm able to change one person, then it's worth it. And so if I'm hitting every single town I can, then that's more reach, and more people that I can help. And if I can do that with what I'm trying to, with what I'm displaying out there, and being Canada's first and only drag queen pro wrestler, which, by the way, I hope is not my moniker forever. I hope it's just Canada's first drag queen pro wrestler. Then that's exactly what I want to do. I want to be healthy and get out there and be in front of everybody I can, because that's more people that I can and hopefully influence and change their life.
Absolutely. And I think that you set yourself for very realistic, obtainable goals. And I know, just knowing who you are now and knowing how driven you are, seeing you out there larger than life and seeing you now as this humble individual, it's humbling for myself to know who you are behind everything. Because Alice is great, but it's always nice to know the other side of the coin, right? Like, everybody looks at Two-Face like a scary villain. Two-Face was real, man. He just wore both faces all at the same time. That's the difference, right? So
Yeah.
obtainable goals like that. Have you ever thought about getting your own belt made and going to all these amazing drag communities and challenging like the drag, like that the hottest drag in the area? Just be like, all right, you're number one out here. You got the moniker. The drag strap is on the line, baby.
You know what's funny, man, is not particularly, but I have toyed with the idea of being like, what if I like, a popular drag queen comes into town and I challenge them to like an arm wrestling contest or something.
I love it.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I think that would be tons of fun. And if it's entertaining and people are digging it, that's an idea I'd pursue for sure.
Absolutely. I think it would be. Even if not even if they come to town, you just go to their town and you'd be like, hey
Yeah.
man, what's going on? It's Alice Starr. I'm here. I'm here in Miami.
What's up, Tennessee?
That's right. What's going on, Tennessee? I hear you got this wonderful person. Well, let's bring him on down. Let's you and I have a pie eating contest, man. I can turn my hat backwards.
Oh, snap.
Oh yeah. Come on. You got to go all out with it though. You got to do like all the like whatever city you go to, you have to do the thing that's synonymous with that city. Like you can't just
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, like if you're out in, I don't know, if you're out in Kentucky, you're gonna want to have that chicken. You're gonna want to have a fried chicken eating contest, right? If you're in New York, you're gonna want to see who can polish off a whole pizza. Like these are things that you have, like you gotta go out, you gotta go extra with it. You gotta go over the top. Sensationalism is the best way to do it, and I guarantee you, that's a show that people would tune into. The amazing drag race challenge.
I think drag and extra kind of go hand in hand. So I think that's a good idea, George.
Look at that. We built a show. Crave, Netflix, get at us, man. We got a hit here. That's it. We got it. Buy it. We got a hit here. So when it comes down to when Alice Starr reintroduces herself to the wrestling world, I'm thinking new gear. I'm thinking new looks. I'm thinking the whole 9 yards, done up to the tens. What is because usually you're pink and blue. You're pink and blue, those are your colors. Are we still gonna go pink and blue? Or are we planning to alter and change Alice in any way?
I am all about eras. And right now I'm in my arrival era. I am here and people are still trying to understand what I do. And that's why I call it arrival era, because this is me hitting the scene and really expanding my reach. Listen, the pink and blue is near and dear to me because I just like the colors. But in all honesty, Alice Starr is meant to evolve. I'm evolving as a person all the time. And I've always been a creative person. I've always been in bands, traveled. I toured North America in a rock and roll band. I had my own TV show. I've always been creative. And so to remain the same would not be true to me and it wouldn't be true to Alice Starr. So definitely expect Alice Starr to evolve every single time that you see this persona in front of you, because when you remain the same, not only what you're presenting and the show is stale, I think as a creative person, it can really affect your mental health. And for me, being able to exercise new gear and, like you said, new aspects of myself, that's gonna sell to people. I think the transparency of what I'm doing is always going to sell. And not that I do what I do for money, but I'll take it.
Of course, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? You know, what's funny, you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to touch on this before, but then we got sidetracked to so many other fascinating topics. Imposter syndrome. I
Yeah.
myself have suffered through that because, I get compliments here and there, and sometimes, and I'm taken back when I get them. Or when people like comment on the videos and they're like, man, this is a sick job. Love the conversation. It's like, huh. I'm flattered, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I could be mixed. And then when sometimes I see the numbers and I'm up higher in the podcast charts than I ever thought I could be. It's like, why is it working now? 6 years, it didn't always work. There were peaks and valleys, levels. But why is it working now? So sometimes it takes, behind every man, behind every individual, there is an even better individual. And I credit my wife for that, because my wife always tells me to shut up and keep doing what I'm doing, because whatever I'm doing is working. So thanks to her.
She's
6
smart.
years later, Straight Talk is still floating around, and we're still doing our thing. So
We're better for it, man.
Yeah, And I appreciate that. And like I said, out of all the podcasts in Ontario, all the podcasts in Canada, you hit me up, and I'm honored for that, because that shows that I'm reaching those levels, and people know that I'm a stand-up person and I can have these great conversations. One more question. It's an important question, and then we're going to shout out your socials. When it comes down to it, given the opportunity and the right storyline, if you could, in either of the big promotions, either of them or any of them, NWA, Impact, any of them, if you could run a promotion with any member of that roster, if it was booked right and done right, and it was going to be the ultimate storytelling experience for wrestling fans, who would you like to run a program with in any of the top tier promotions, given the opportunity?
Incredible question. Incredibly difficult to answer. It's hard not to say Roman Reigns, because he is just so incredible at what he does. Yeah. I think what Cody Rhodes is doing today is nothing short of a masterpiece. He is exactly what I want to be. He is someone that's living his life in front of everybody else. Like, the stories that are being told are from the heart, and these are truthful stories. And that's exactly what I want to bring to wrestling. So to have a program with him would be just mind-blowing. But if we're talking belts, believe it or not, it's the NWA Heavyweight Championship. It's right here. And I think if I was able to capture that one day, and be in the list of those incredible wrestlers who have held that, I have no words for that, man. And that's definitely a goal. I would absolutely love to do that. And that's something that I want to do. I want to be NWA Heavyweight Champion.
You know what? I believe that is 150% obtainable, and I think that's a great way to end this conversation. We're going to shoot for the stars. We put it out in the universe. One day, Starr will be your reigning, defending NWA World Champion. 150%. Before you go, my friend, shout out your socials where everyone can keep up on the journey that is Starr as we get closer to that November/December return date to the ring.
You can follow me at official Starr, and please check it out, because I'm posting all my latest content, and you will find out firsthand when I will be returning to the ring and everything else that I'm doing, because wrestling's not my only goal, but it's the one that I've got right now, and I can't wait to be back in the ring, and that's where you're going to find out when I'll be back.
Absolutely. So guys, stay tuned to that one. And don't forget, if you can't find Starr with whatever reason, check out Straight Talk socials, links in below. We follow each other. and I go way back. We go way back to that battle royale.
I don't even know when that was at this point. Yeah,
that was definitely pre-pandemic. I can tell you that much. It was very much so pre-pandemic, and then pandemic stopped everything. And thank God we're out of that. Well, we're not really out of it, but we just don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
the pandemic is like Bruno. We don't talk about it. It just kind of disappears, right? All right, guys, that's it for this one. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next time. Peace. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, not in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.